wish I knew. My will is strong with a place to lean. In the moment I hung desperately. The other ring on my wrist is gold, pairing with the light it holds. When I return from my skin and bones, I'm remembering the words you told me. Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all. I had a feeling, but the feeling is all gone. Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all. I had a feeling, but the feeling is all gone. Feeling is all gone. Feeling is all gone. Feeling
welcome to the 9.10 update show. It's October already. That is totally crazy. It's the Hero of Hawaii update show. I'm Titan Dandy and am incredibly excited to have y'all here. This is going to be a good show. I'm super hyped for it. Along with me, I got two people you'll know and recognize, Aggro and AJ. Welcome to the show, guys.
What's up, man? Happy to be here.
Super excited. I know you're happy to be here. We got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. So, I guess we'll just dive right into it. A lot coming out. We have the Reaping event coming. It's October. Y'all knew that was coming. We also have the new god Maui, which we're going to get to later, you know about, and plenty of other things to talk about. But as always, we have some balance. And let's start in Conquest. Looks like there's some changes kind of across the map. A lot of camps getting a little bit of touch-up work, starting with Naga getting a little stronger, it looks like.
Mostly objectives we're changing here today.
Objectives.
Yeah, so the Naga is a new early game contested objective we added in the duo lane. That's going to make some big impact over there. It's a big objective. It's a powerful reward. Yep. So we're toning that down a little bit here between the Naga and the Interceptor changes that, sorry to get ahead of you, but
yeah, you're good.
They're very closely related. We're going to make the Naga here a little harder to kill. This is going to make it take a little bit more time if you're going to go over there. Maybe give the other team a better chance to steal or to at least poke you out while you're on it. And then if you do get the Scepter, that damage is coming down a little bit too. So wanted to increase a lot more early aggression across the map. We're going to talk about that some more here in just another moment. But we wanted to be careful about that duo lane snowball, which is really one of the heaviest places you can snowball a whole match. So just toning that back a little bit.
And that makes sense. That's a super powerful objective to grab. So making it a little more of a risk reward, like really having to dedicate yourself to it. Cool play. So next up, looks like we're getting some Fury changes too, both to Golden and Primal.
Yeah, exactly. So like AJ was just talking about, we're definitely aware of how important early pressure could be in duo lane and playing around Interceptor in particular. And that feels more individual-based pressure. But we do want to encourage teams to group up and fight a little bit more and be a little bit more active as a unit, more so than just one person having the best pressure pick and then going over and snagging Scepter for themselves. So Gold Fury is going down a little bit in its base health and base gold, as well as its base protections.
And power.
And power. It's just getting worse. It's just getting easier to kill in every way, with a slightly worse reward, but increasing that scaling a little bit to try and get it to that same point in the mid to late game. But we've just gotten the feedback that early Gold Furies, early Furies in general, just end up being a little bit too risky for the reward you're going to get.
Got it.
So we keep the reward close to the same, but decrease the risk by a little bit to try and get teams a little bit more active around that side of the map. Yeah,
make it something that in the early game you have to be a little more cognizant of, because all of a sudden it's no longer that hard or as hard to get in there and contest it or fight it even. So.
Exactly.
Cool. So, and I guess Primal and Oni Fury along that same, just for all of them? Okay.
Yes. Yep. Awesome. Exactly. All three Furies.
Now, Pyromancer also getting some changes.
Yeah, this one's a slightly different story, but it's very much along the same lines.
Okay.
We want to encourage you to kill it earlier, so we're making it a little bit easier to kill earlier. But it's also going to get a little bit more of a loss in its rewards. So the Team Golden, it's also losing some team experience.
Okay. Cool.
And the main reasoning behind this is we want the Fury and the Pyromancer to not be so symmetrical. So it's very often when you're maybe a little behind or something, one team's going for the Fury, you'll say, okay, we'll go take the Pyromancer instead.
Yeah, we'll just trade.
That's great. We like that you have options. But it was too close in the total reward. Really, the team that's doing the Fury should get a little bit more of a noticeable reward than the team getting the Pyromancer. So we are bringing those Pyromancer rewards down a little bit more, especially in that it's losing its experience by a good amount.
Got it.
But it will be slightly easier to kill too, so maybe you can sneak that in early, especially if you're one of those basic attack assassins who are doing so well right now.
Yep.
Yeah, all right, makes sense. Well, super cool. That kind of covers it for the Conquest changes. So a lot of good stuff coming, but we've just hit the tip of the iceberg with balance. I think we're into items now, starting off with kind of an interesting change here to the Purification Beads, right?
Look, I'm a little biased. Mally's my favorite thing in this patch. But this might be my second favorite thing in this patch. This is really big. So Purification Beads in all relics, the way it interacts with when you can fire it.
Yeah.
There are some hidden rules that have made it feel a little less responsive than we would like. And so we've been dedicating a lot of time and effort into investigating how beads and other relics kind of interact with that.
Got it.
We think this is going to make a big difference in how it feels to use Purification Beads. At least we hope it will. So now, if you got interrupted out of an animation, you wouldn't be able to beads while that animation would have been playing. Okay. And that made it feel like your beads weren't going off. We have made it so that you can now beads no matter what you're doing. So
anytime you are alive is
Right.
the text
Well,
we
yeah,
went with on the
exactly.
patch
Yeah,
notes.
it's there. It's
So you can't
Yeah.
beats while dead,
So
but
not
any
then.
other time is good.
Yeah.
anytime you've got color on your screen, you're not on the grayscale, you're allowed to use Purification Beads. And it has made a really, really big difference in the high-level players, really noticing it.
Yeah.
I trust Lermy in saying that she's noticing it.
True.
And we think that this will make it feel a little bit more responsive, that your beads are going off more consistently, and you're not getting those moments where you're like, I was smashing it, what was going on? Hopefully this will remedy some of that.
Got it.
We're really interested to hear the feedback of this going forward,
Yeah.
especially since we're applying these special rules to just beads. We'd love to hear more about how do the rest of the relics feel compared to beads. Is there some other issues we can look into? It's always something that there's a lot of details, a lot of digging worth going into. So
Yeah.
I think this one is going to be a good start. We're going to learn a lot, and we're going to see some really hype plays because now you can pre-beads while dashing and stuff like that to prevent yourself from getting interrupted from it, which is really crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Wow.
the skill ceiling is going up a little bit with this change as well.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Now I can no longer complain that I just ate my input, so now I have to.
Well, you can maybe.
Yeah,
you know.
maybe, yeah, but
So let us know if that still happens to you even after this change. Please let us know.
Absolutely.
And submit video proof.
and making it harder to look good even when you're not good. All right, well, super cool. Excited for that. Next up, looks like we kind of have a couple mage items getting some touch-up work here, starting with a nerf with Warlock Staff.
Yeah, so Warlock Staff has finally become a real mainstay item in mage builds. It got a little bit of a rework not too long ago and still took a while to get up there. Now we feel like it's just a little bit too efficient at what it does, and this is a stacking item that's supposed to have this big payoff as you start to continue to accumulate stacks. We want to shift that power more into making sure you're getting your stacks and not just getting the great stats right off the rip, and you'll get the stacks whenever you need it. So this is a little bit more in line with something like Transcendence that doesn't get its CDR until you fully evolve it. Now Warlock Staff not getting its percent pen until it's fully evolved.
Okay, cool. I mean, it makes sense too. With an evolving item getting the power spike after the evolution, it's a natural progression of things. So,
Right.
Next up, Book of Thoth. A little bit of a buff going there. It looks like some magic pen.
This is a spicier buff than
Very
the
spicy.
Warlock Staff nerf was. That's for sure. So Book of Thoth is now going to provide 10 magical penetration flat when evolved. So this is effectively a new flat pen option for mages, which we think is really exciting. We're always interested in providing our players with a good different group of options within this specific kind of type of niche stat that you feel like you need.
Yeah.
So we don't want you boxed into just the same ones. You will have to stack the item before you get it.
Right.
But this item was already felt, potentially pretty good in a couple places. Maybe it was getting edged out by Warlocks. Maybe it works better on certain gods than others. But it's got a lot of potential now.
Oh, for sure.
Especially with this change.
Yeah.
And mages in general could use the help a little bit. So
Fair enough.
we do have one more mage buff to talk about. But the Book of Thoth is definitely the one that people are going to be at home.
Very spicy.
Definitely doing the
thinking
theory
about.
crafting around because I think we're going to see a lot more of this with this change.
Always good for item diversity for sure. So as you mentioned, one more Charon's coin also getting a buff. Looks like magic power.
Yeah, just a little bit more magic power on Charon's. We're seeing Obsidian Shard be far and away the more popular 20% pen option. Charon's has a lot of great utility and a lot of great stats that it gives you, but it was lacking a little bit in the power department. Not bringing it back up to that 100 mark that it once dominated
Exactly.
the meta at,
Yeah, asterisk.
and there's a lot, the 9.5 update changed a lot since the last time this was at 90 power. Something to keep in mind.
It looks like a small change, but this item has been really fine-tuned over the years, and little bits have gone and made really big differences in the whole mage build meta before, especially on this item. So going careful here. Should be helping mages out one way or another, if it's just a little bit.
Sounds good. It's crazy too how you could you release an item and any tuning you do, it's crazy back and forth. But after a couple years, you're like, all right, listen, we changed
Only
the
takes
power
a few
by
years to be balanced.
yeah, we changed the power by
just
2 in
years,
this,
you know.
and it sounds crazy, but that's gonna shift the meta entirely.
Like when we took pen to 13 or 12 or whatever.
Yeah, it's bananas. So next up, Silver Branch getting a nerf on it.
Yeah, Silver Branch is just proven to be a little bit too splashable in builds that don't require you to hit the passive threshold whatsoever. This is supposed to be an item that really incentivizes you to build a lot of attack speed and then not get punished for overcapping, especially on attack speed stim gods. When Anhur is building Silver Branch,
With 0 stacks, they're like, yep, I still want it.
2.1 attack speed, I mean, Silver Branch is probably a little bit too good. Obviously going to keep an eye on the overall hunters builds in the late game and what percent pen options they have as they continue. But we felt pretty comfortable that in the short term, Silver Branch seemed a little bit too good.
All right, well, cool. Sounds good. Next up, this kind of seems thematic. Devourer's Gauntlet getting a little bit of a buff, some pin, it looks like.
Another very spicy change here. So we have not seen this item much in quite a while.
Yeah.
And, the mages got a cool little new toy. And so the hunters and I guess potentially assassins shall as well, with Devourer's Gauntlet now providing 10 physical pen, flat pen when evolved.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting change. Pretty
sure.
big development to this item that generally just gave power and lifesteal, not much else. This new stat on it is definitely going to make it more attractive to a whole variety of gods. Maybe we see it a lot more. Could change up the starter items that people build with it because hunters tend to build a lot between their starter depending on their first item.
Yeah.
With the Transcendence nerf we had in the bonus balance as well, that's always something to keep in mind. A lot of these changes were written with those recent bonuses in mind. So this could shift that lane more towards Devourers and less away from Transcendence. We were seeing overwhelmingly more Transcendence for a while now.
Yeah,
right?
not even close.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to remember for both Book of Thoth and Devourer's Gauntlets that we are in a world where everyone has more HP, more physical protection. We're not getting back to what we were at pre.
We got a long way to go before we go.
Long way to go, but introducing a little bit more exciting itemization and a little bit more lethality for these damage classes early on.
You also got to stack them up all the way before you get those.
It's not
right?
it's not instant. So they're really exciting and really spooky in a good way, I think. But I think that
I'm stoked for these two changes.
me too, man. I can't wait. It's been fun playtesting.
It'll be good to watch out for them. So next up, Heartseeker getting a little bit of a buff. I know it is at least not running your pockets as much, but what else is going on?
We're looking still at ability assassins now.
Yeah.
We've seen a couple. It was basic attackers that were really out in front for most of this year for a while. As the pro meta has developed, it hasn't really reflected the exact same stats as the rest of the game. But we're seeing a lot of these ability-based assassins struggle, especially in normal Conquest and ranked Conquest. So we're looking at Heartseeker and seeing this item that people really haven't been purchasing very much in a long time. The cost we felt like was the number one thing that was just prohibiting people from getting it. It was really up there. So it brought that down a little bit. And then the smaller buff here is it's going to allow you to stack to the maximum damage threshold without having to build as much power, which after quite a lot of power build calculations that Aggro did in his designs of Rangda's and Lono's masks, this made a lot more sense to bring this threshold down a little bit because 400 is a pretty high number to reach.
Yeah,
yes,
for sure.
indeed.
Well, cool. And props to you for doing those calculations. I know 2 hands and a
did the
calculator.
math.
Yeah, the math.
No, I can't. So glad we have somebody like you who can do it, because I would be back there like, man, I don't know, 2 + 2 could equal 4.
I'm going to be honest. I just messaged Pon and have him do it for me. Because
He is our resident math expert.
Yeah, he's
at least we have a
Game
resident
designers
math.
aren't afraid of math, though.
No.
They might have to practice it
You really
quite a
can't
bit,
be,
but
honestly.
Yes, they might have to practice.
All right, well, cool. Next up, looks like we're getting into the more Guardian area here, and Heartward Amulet and 2 of its glyphs getting some buffs, it looks like, to protections, yeah?
Yeah, to the aura in particular. So, of course, this
Aura
also
in
affects the
particular.
user of Heartward Amulet and both of its glyphs, but Heartward just feels a little bit underwhelming, and that's, when you see some magical heavy compositions, it has glyph options, which makes it inherently a little bit more valuable.
Yeah.
And it's still not being picked up. It means it's probably not good enough at its job, and its job is to make your team healthier and better against magical damage dealers. So putting a little bit of strength there. Obviously, you have to be a little careful when it comes to auras because it might seem like a 5 prot buff, but if it's you and your ally, that's really 10 extra protections.
25 max.
Yeah, like you can
Back
get
to
a lot
math.
really
Wow,
quickly.
yeah.
So just a little bit of protections in an aura can make a really big difference.
All right, well, cool. So following up into the defensive area, Hide of the Nemean Lion also getting a bit of buff work added, right?
Yeah, so this one's going to stack faster to get those block stacks, Still gone are the days of the permanent reflect damage and good riddance on that one. But now we're focused on this stack-based mechanic. You have to build into it. There's a lot of restrictions on it, so we wanted to make sure it was effective when it did come up.
Yeah.
So 10 seconds down to 8 seconds. It's reasonable.
Yeah,
Reasonable. We got to be careful on this one. We've done a lot of testing when this item was very strong, and
Oh, yeah.
just warriors could just run at you all day. So taking out baby steps on this one, and overall, feel like it's going to be a good thing. It might work its way into those solo builds.
Yep.
We'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah, just slowly steering it back just to see what happens. So cool. Next up, Bancroft's Claw, getting a little nerf actually.
Yeah, speaking of math, by the way, this description.
Nerfs on the main patch, by the way. Exciting.
Yeah, right.
We've been hearing
Going
the feedback
crazy.
about saving them all for bonus. If we need a nerf now, we will nerf now.
Yeah.
It's all about identifying, getting that data and feedback in at the right time.
Yep.
And this one, Really popping up really big right now, huh?
All of a sudden, people kind of realizing
nowhere.
that this one's pretty good.
Your
I will
Hades is
say,
meta now?
All of us, somehow we finally gotten there.
Spread the word.
Yeah,
Spread the word.
this one, I mean, Bancroft's Claw, very, very potent at what it does. You have to be very close range, but the gods who use it well use it a little bit too well. And we feel like the damage component of it isn't as egregious as
reasonable.
the shield. And the shield, because it isn't affected by anti-heal, all that kind of stuff, just gives these gods a little bit too much survivability to go along with that damage. So just making it so that you're getting less of a shield. Again, this can stack among how many gods you hit, multiple stacks of the item, all that kind of good stuff. This should be pretty noticeable when you're getting one of those massive health shields. Again, there's still a max HP component. We're definitely going to be keeping a close eye on Bancroft's Claw, but we feel like this is a pretty safe first step in not immediately removing these claw gods from the meta. But
Let Hades have some time.
A little bit
Yeah,
at
come on.
least. So, well, cool. Yeah, I mean, I love that we're starting the October update off with so much math because I'm already scared and we haven't even got to the scary stuff yet. So next up, these changes are a little similar. We're over to earrings now, and I know the earrings have had a lot of back and because they're crazy items, they're rule-breaking items.
Yep.
So both Manticore Spike and Fabulous Hoops kind of having some similar changes done. Yeah.
Yep, increasing costs on both of them. You know, that's mostly to address the overall stat efficiency.
Yeah.
We didn't want to nerf the stats too much. We'd rather increase the costs. Make sure these items still have a valuable enough total.
Yeah.
Is important, but they were getting you a little too much for that price. So you're going to see Manticore Spike going up a little bit more than Fabulist. Manticore Spike being a little bit more widely purchased, a little more aggressive, a little bit more applicable on more gods.
Yeah.
Makes sense, whereas Fabulist doing a smaller update. And then also nice note that we are just doing some adjustments on the visual effects, the deployable effects, the self-buff effects, just to make these a little bit more easy to see, easy to pick up on the ground, and better understanding of who's recently picked one up, and you should watch out for that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool then. Yeah, a little more battleground awareness. Can be hard to notice a little hectic in a big old team fight or something. So
Definitely.
Always
Absolutely.
love that clarity. So cool. That actually does it for item balance. But again, we still got balance to go. We're into the gods world now. Starting with Camazotz, getting a little bit of a buff, it looks like.
Yeah, Camazot's just one of those gods that always pops up around pro, at Worlds time and that kind of stuff, and we're definitely cognizant of that. But wanting to make sure that it's a more damage-oriented buff, that if he's going to be going to solo, it's not going to maybe help him quite as much. So just helping out with Screech, one of the more guaranteed abilities to land for Camazotz.
Definitely.
Making it a little bit simpler to get your damage off there.
Cool.
Trying to keep him in the jungle, trying to keep him full power.
Yep.
Hey, I like Camazotz, so I like the easy ability to bail under pressure. So that ult has always been a favorite of mine.
Yep.
So next up, Thor, kind of also getting a handful of buffs. 3 abilities seeing some changes.
Now, this is really one big buff.
Yes.
The rest are
Okay,
kind of
one
small.
big
So
buff.
Milner's
Got it.
getting some mana, not a big deal.
Cool.
Now, the real one is that Tectonic Rift is now going to deal damage.
Whoa.
Which is a little
It's
bit
happened.
spicy, and by that I mean very spicy. It's been something that's
so
been
pumped.
theorized for years. The prophecy has finally come true. It's a low base and scaling number.
Very low.
But that's very important because it can trigger on-hit attacks, on-hit effects.
Yeah.
Including
Which
your
is,
ultimate.
which is very important for assassin builds. And then additionally, yes, Thor's ultimate, which applies a bonus damage with chain lightning effect, will now apply to the damage on that ability, which you previously could not use that to trigger that. So that is something that, happens by default, kind of as adding damage to that based on the rules of his ultimate. So and obviously we were okay with that. Pretty big impacts we expect from this one.
Huge.
Sounds
Yeah,
like
for
it.
sure. Of course, also it always goes where we get months and months of feedback from community and pros and Olympians like
Right,
Thor
about
needs
how
buff,
Thor's
Thor
just
needs
terrible.
buff.
Make
And then
stronger.
SPL starts up and it's like, I'm actually going to pick Thor a good amount. And it's like, come on, man. But I do think that this, it's really exciting. It's felt unbelievably good to play.
Okay.
Just making sure, it's such a good feeling to throw out your wall over a wall and know if you hit someone to throw your hammer. Like seeing the damage numbers pop
feedback,
up
yeah.
has felt really good.
Okay.
It takes away some synergy with like Titan's Bane on him, which is like a cool little trade-off, I think, where Titan's Bane was an insane poke tool.
Yeah.
Now you're getting the Titan's proc on your wall, and you're like, that didn't do a whole lot, but that feels like a pretty fair trade-off.
Yeah.
I expect to see a good amount of Thor after this change, and it's a god that we haven't seen as much until the last like few weeks, because that's
Right,
the cosmic comedy of it all. It's kind of a cosmic gumbo in a way. But I'm really excited about this. I think that people are going to really feel the difference for Thor, but not feel like it is an overwhelming amount of damage. It's really there just to give you a little bit of information, give you an item proc on Crusher, Heartseeker, something, Bluestone, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And just make it feel a little bit better.
Well, Athena got a small amount of damage. She became best jungler in the game. So
Why not?
maybe Thor
Yeah, who
will be
knows?
the best jungler in the game.
It's going to be a reckoning.
He still has very noticeable weaknesses in
Yep.
his kit,
Okay,
though.
yeah.
So we shall see. We shall see.
We shall see. Hey, always cool how you can change one thing and you're like, man, I can't wait to see how that alters the combos, the gameplay style. It's that kind of stuff is always fun to watch for
Yep.
sure.
Very much.
So until I'm getting crushed by it. But next up, Ganesha getting a buff as well, 2 abilities.
Yeah, Ganesh, just one of those gods that always is on the fringe of could be really good, has really good matchups,
Yeah.
but is one of those quintessential supports. And so getting a little bit less of a self-slow while firing Ohm, that's the big silence, of
Yeah.
course. And then on the dash, letting that scale down in cooldown. Ganesh is one of those gods that doesn't feel super impactful as you start to put points into your abilities at times. You know, you get more protections during Ohm, but
Yeah.
a lot of times it's not why you're really using it. Getting a lower cooldown on that dash, which was 15 seconds at all ranks,
Yeah.
letting him be a little bit more survivable through the mid to late game, I think is going to feel pretty good for this god.
Yeah, super impactful. And I mean, hey, strongest damage ult in the game, am I right? That's
One of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, if they
That's
just
always a
happen
good-
to sit still.
yeah, always a good meme. So speaking of Athena, kind of mentioned her earlier.
yeah.
A little bit of buff. Is she going back to the jungle again?
No, this is a
Okay,
very
okay.
support-oriented buff, or at least it's
Support buff.
intended to be. You know how that play. One of the joy of MOBAs is the flexibility, though, and how players can do different things. So, you know,
Yes.
go nuts. Anyway, Confound, decreased cooldown from 18 seconds flat to 18 scaling down to 16. That's her key CC.
Yeah.
That's an extremely high cooldown. You know, that was nerfed multiple times over the years during her previous high points.
The prime.
But now she's really needs some help. Seems like a very reasonable thing to bring down. Other Guardians with big CCs have, you know.
Yeah.
And then also very exciting, Defender of Olympus, which I would say is probably one of the things that you will hear from people that will say, oh, I thought that was already a thing.
Yep.
Athena will now gain the damage mitigation, and we also increased that damage mitigation by 5%. So you're going to be able to channel on an ally, give them 5% more, 35% damage mitigation. Athena's also going to get it. So now, even if the person you targeted dies before you go anywhere,
Yeah.
or, you know, any of the other possible mishaps that could happen during Athena, you will have gotten that damage mitigation for yourself as well. It really helps her potentially as an escape tool, I
Yep.
suppose.
Absolutely.
yeah.
You get into a little bit of trouble, use your ultimate to escape.
Not usually how you want to use it, but you certainly can do that, you know, and people
Well-
do, and this will make that a little bit better as well. So more flexibility.
Yeah, somebody gets a prime gank, your laner dies, and you're like, listen, my only way out is
See ya.
ult
Yep.
solo lane. So
Good luck.
later. So
Yep.
cool. Next up, Hercules getting a little. I mean, I was gonna say buff. I was trying to work in a buff joke because he's buff already, but pretend
Sure
I made
is.
a great one and laugh in the comments. So what's happening with Hercules?
Yeah, so getting a little bit more base attack speed just felt a little low for the warrior class
Yeah.
in general. And then increasing his passive strength a little bit. And
Okay.
longtime SPL fans and all that kind of stuff will shudder at this idea. But remember, the game is very different post 9.5. So
True.
that amount of power doesn't equate to the same thing that it once did. This is what really was his identity at a high level for a long time, was
Yeah.
he was this level 1 juggernaut that was really, really difficult to bring down. You know, we know that the DR changes made a big difference for this god and really affected him pretty negatively.
Yeah.
And so we feel like this is a better direction to go in right now. But, you know, still keeping a close eye on how his CC is affected by all the DR changes.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
Said.
Yeah. And yeah, well said. Right. Next up, a god that I kind of have trouble wrapping my head around and achievement hunting. Tyr getting a buff as well. So
You're never going to get that achtment.
No.
Wow, that was
Cthulhu-
toxic. I believe in you,
that
Harrison.
and
Come
Cthulhu-
on, man.
Thank you.
So
I'll give you dev codes and you can
Yeah.
just, you can just kill 'em.
Tyr getting some bonus stats, really. But the interesting thing to me with this is that these stance changer ultimates.
Yeah.
A lot of times you don't really want to put points in them. There's not necessarily a whole lot going on with them. They really just kind of do what the god's meant to do.
Yeah.
But we're going to make Tyr do that better now. So he's going to be able to get some of that physical power and some of that physical protection.
All protections.
All protection. Sorry,
Yep.
it looks like we got a typo. That'll happen.
Ruh-roh.
But he's going to get now half of the physical power in the defense stance and half of the protections in the offensive stance. So he's always getting both things, they're just in smaller amounts. So
Okay.
effectively, he's just getting a free 0 to 25 of these stats on all the time, which is,
Dang.
you know, that has a
Yeah.
lot of impact.
does.
A lot of times people see these types of changes, they don't get as excited about them, but they tend to have very large statistical impact. And it's
Yeah.
going to affect the god overall.
Yes.
The whole time.
Will this be enough incentive to rank the ability over one of his other abilities? That remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But
That'll be up
Probably
to
not
y'all.
until later.
If you can find a way to play the early game on tier, this is definitely going to help his late game.
Well, that's the thing, is that Tyr doesn't need a whole lot of help early, is that his lane dominance is near the top. So,
there you go.
so we like him being able to scale a little bit better into the late game. There's a stance switcher in his Pantheon in Hell who has a very similar thing in her passive that lets her get a little bit of benefit from light stance and dark stance and vice versa. Feels appropriate for Tyr to get a little bit of benefit in both stances and not just have to choose between one or the other.
Cool. Sounds good. So next up, Shiva, also getting a buff, 2 abilities, Emblazoned Sweep and Damaru's Tempo. I would
This
say
is
that
really a buff to his passive, kind of hidden within his
wrong.
abilities.
Really? Okay.
Well, Shiva's passive is very intertwined into his abilities to give them these different bonus effects depending on if he's in his Bliss or Destruction stance. And we wanted to really play that up a little bit more. We wanted to reward players who are paying attention to that and use those effects. And there's some cool things that are going on there. So now we're going to make the movement speed from Emblazoned Sweep is going to be a little bit more powerful in Bliss stance, and the protection reduction debuff is going to be a little bit more powerful in Destruction stance, as well as Damaru's Tempo, which has attack speed, buff and debuff. That's also going to increase in intensity here. So giving Shiva a little bit more of utility, leaning into that unique passive of his. Seeing if we can bring him back into the solo lane, or, he was very role flexible, so we might even see him more in solo or even support with these changes, because there's a lot of utility here.
Yeah, for sure. And that's definitely, that passive is one of those where keeping track of it is a skill. That requires practice. So I agree with rewarding players who are able to dive into a team fight and know, all right, I'm in Bliss stance right now, so it would behoove me to use this ability. I think that's a really cool shit.
Man, if you're in team fighting and still thinking of the word behoove, you're nuts. Like you're a god gamer, that's for sure.
I still can't achievement hunt here apparently though. Morgan Le Fay getting a buff. So what's going on with Morgan Le Fay?
Yeah, Morgan Le Fay is one of those gods that feels pretty good, but just is a little bit short after a couple of nerfs after her release. Felt like her cooldowns were just a little bit too long. And so just reverting a couple of those cooldown buffs, not the overall damage nerfs or anything like that. We feel like she's doing a pretty healthy amount of damage right now, but just wanting to be a little bit more impactful in a team fight, especially when you're not getting CDR until pretty late into your build right now in a lot of mage cases. When Morgan was meta, it was a lot of Chronos Pendant, if memory serves. So I think that she could really use a little bit of help in this exact area. I think it'll feel pretty good.
Okay, cool. So next up, continuing the mage trend, Soul getting a buff as well. Stellar Burst and Supernova. Looks kind of like a revert thing here.
Yeah, with a couple of these characters, we had looking at these reverts because, like we said, the 9-5 changes mostly made a very clear case for a very different meta, and it was easy to just go back one step as opposed to really trying to push something different in their whole kits.
Of course, yeah.
We have balance changes that we do intend to push something different in the whole kit, like the Thor change.
Yeah.
But not all of them. Sometimes just a small touch is a really good thing for these gods. So Soul, focusing on that power scaling, her early game and her lane dominance is already quite strong. Giving her that late game ability-based damage that's going to give her a little bit more flexibility, maybe even see her come back in the mid lane, which would be really exciting.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Mage ADCs, we've seen a couple of them coming up, so that means that it's possible, but we haven't really seen Soul. And, that means that we might be looking at Chronos in the future. No spoilers, nothing to confirm officially yet, but we are talking about it.
Little
On the
conversations.
fabled radar, if
Yes,
you will.
perhaps.
The
So
fabled radar.
the God of Time, maybe we'll get his time in a bit. But for now, it is Soul to hopefully join the ranks of Freya and Olorun, which are already getting some pro-level play. So we'll see if Soul can hop in there too.
Yeah, so round out the roster a little more. Cool. Next up, Janice getting a couple buffs as well. 2 abilities getting touched up.
Yeah, Threshold, one of those big utility spells
course,
that good Giannis players understand just how important this is to the kit. And then Through Space and Time got a bunch of changes quite some time ago to how much damage it can do to you. It can't fully one-shot you anymore, has audio, all that kind of stuff. And with those fail-safes in place, it felt like we probably could move up the magical power scaling a little bit.
Just untouched,
This does change based on distance and all that kind of stuff, and that is math that I don't want to mess with necessarily. But just making sure that the base, 65% for an ultimate, we know it has a lot of utility. It isn't always used for damage. But when it is used for damage, it should probably hit a little bit harder than it is.
Yeah, especially with the snipes. If somebody hits me from all the way across the map, I'm mad, but I'm like, all right, how did you? That's impressive.
Right. Respect.
You deserve that. So
yeah.
Cool. Looks like we're moving into Hunter territory now. On her getting a buff to Impale.
That's right. So Honor just needs a little help all around right now.
Yeah.
He hasn't been doing the thing. So we're talking a lot about Honor and his various utility, his debuffs. He's got Or as like a lion, that's really fun.
Yeah,
But most of all, Impale. That's what everybody knows on her for. And this ability is known for just chunking. And it doesn't really do that anymore. Lane minions got tankier, God's got tankier. So on her needs a little bit of help to catch up. So we just went straight for a pretty noticeable base damage increase, which I would point out here as a little bit spicier than normal.
Yeah.
Really trying to give this a strong early game presence and a small scaling just to make sure that keeps up with him through the rest of the game.
A little twist.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. You see, some people would know him for Impale, some people for his ult, you know. But what about the body pillow pillar? Like, the body
That
pillar?
is true.
I don't know.
I'm sure there are a lot of people who.
That's what I know him from anyway. Every time I get hit by it, I'm like, it's slow.
One
but
of
it's
On-Her's best moments, I'd say.
honestly,
all
it's
time.
a golden moment. So next up, Charybdis, getting a couple buffs as well. Spike Shot and Capsize.
Yeah, Charybdis just falling a little bit out of the meta and feeling like she could use a little bit of help. So helping her a little bit with the Splinter base damage. That's the shots that come off of your AO1.
Yeah.
Of course, that also includes the AO1 shot through the wave, which is pretty
And a
important.
direct hit on a god.
Exactly. So helping her with her ability to not only clear, but box a little bit more effectively. You know, this is kind of her version of a stim in her boxing fight. It is making sure her stim feels a little bit better. And then Capsize, that's the 2, just making the base damage a little bit higher. You know, it takes a while to charge up if you want to get the full effectiveness and the full prop tread and all that kind of stuff. Wanting to reward players a tiny bit for doing that a little more.
Cool, cool. Awesome. Well, it looks like there's one remaining here in the Hunter category, and that's Ishtar, also getting a buff. Imbue Arrows kind of getting some touch-up work, along with Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, Ishtar, new goddess.
New goddess.
As usual, we wanted to really give her time to breathe, give players time to learn her, learn the builds, learn the skill curve, see how she really ends up. And we decided we're okay with moving forward with a few buffs.
Yep.
We always are very careful with new gods and buffs like this. But the main things we want to focus on with Ishtar was looking for exciting things to get in the Imbue Arrows, especially as you rank it up.
Yeah.
We've made a couple changes here across all of the so the duration is going to apply to all of the arrows.
Across all three.
The Storm Shot, that one's going to just be doing more damage all the time because it was already a flat % reduction over basic attack.
Right.
That's the long range shot. And then the Strike Shot, that's the AoE mob.
Yep.
That one is going to get us a significantly better early game buff to help with her lane clear. So a lot packed into just that one change. And we also have the Rolling Thunder buffs as well. This ability can hit multiple times, but at most it usually hits twice.
Right.
We were getting a lot of reports that it just felt a little underwhelming, a little bit low damage in its overall poke. It can still be a very strong interrupt tool or CC tool, but we did want to take that damage up a notch. So even though this is still looks like a relatively low number, keep in mind this number can multiply out a few times.
Yeah, you can stack it on, especially if you catch somebody running away and it's just like ow, ow, ow. So super cool.
So very excited about this new goddess. We've overall heard fantastic feedback. People say she feels great to play. Very smooth, streamlined kit. Very satisfying is a word that gets used a lot.
Absolutely.
Those skill shots just feel great to hit, but just wasn't quite getting that impact in the number. So a few buffs here, and we'll certainly be keeping an eye on her.
Yep. See where it goes. Well, with that, it looks like we are wrapped on the balance for the 9.10 update. So that was a lot of stuff we just went through. Obviously, I don't even remember all of it off the top of my head, and I'm holding a script. So make sure to check out the update notes. They're live right now. They're going to have everything we just talked about and the numbers and all that math we talked about that we already did, so you don't have to worry about it. And those are all live now, so get into that. Next up, we have community news. And there is so many cool things to talk about, starting with something kind of new. So we love Smite Night. Happens on Saturdays. Hop in, earn some free rewards, play a cool game mode. Well, coming near the end of October, so the weekend preceding Halloween, we are going to be doing a weekend Smite Night. So it's going to go from the usual Saturday start time all the way through the end of Monday. So Monday night, you can be playing Halloween night. You can be playing Smite Night. And this one is very special. You'll be in the Corrupted Arena, which is an arena that we all love. But you're going to be able to use a whole variety of scary skins. We're going to have a wide roster of spooky Halloween-themed skins available for you to use totally free. Just hop in, and for the Smite Night weekend to celebrate Halloween, use those. But not only that, this is also a collab Smite Night with the metal band Hath. So as you're playing, you will also be able to unlock a Hath music pack.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
yeah, right. Like it fits
Crossover
the theme.
Smite Night.
Yeah, so it's super awesome, and this is the first time we've tried something like this. We're really, really excited to work with Hath on this. It's going to be incredible, so make sure y'all check out. It's a long weekend. There's cool crossover collab rewards, and there are going to be all kinds of scary skins, totally free to use for that weekend. So like a costume party for Halloween. So super excited about that. Super excited to show that off. Next up, I just wanted to call out that right now through Prime Gaming, there's the Monster Cat Cosmetic Bundle available for y'all to claim. So make sure that you do claim that before it goes away. You still have a little bit of time left, but obviously these things don't last forever. So make sure you get all the crab goodness right up front and claim that as soon as you can. And to follow that up, later on October 24th, so again, still have some time, there's going to be an Avatar The Last Airbender cosmetic bundle coming out. So we're really loving being able to push all these amazing crossovers, and I love all these things. The cosmetics are always on point. So again, October 24th, make sure to look out for that. We're super excited for it. It's going to be really cool. And last but not least, I told you, community news is huge this time. Last but not least, if you haven't noticed, Golden Bolts is going on right now. Nominations are open until October 18th, and make sure to get them in. If there is a community member that you're super proud of, or a content creator, somebody in the SMITE community that you love and think deserves recognition, make sure to get those nominations in before October 18th so that they can move on and we can, get them the reward they deserve. There we go. That's what I was trying to work out. So again, if there's a community member you love, make sure to shout them out and go get those nominations in. We tweeted about it recently, but we will continue to hype this up until it's over. So keep an eye on our Twitter and make sure you get those nominations in. We're so excited to highlight our community again this year. So that does it for the event part. SPL news is up next, and we just wanted to remind y'all, Phase 3 is in full swing, still going hard. Make sure y'all are checking it out on the weekends and getting all that smitey goodness in through SPL because, I mean, the matches are going crazy. That's what all this, a lot of this balance really changes up. You know, it's crazy when a god gets 5 more damage and all of a sudden becomes super cool in the SPL. So make your predictions on what these changes will do to SPL, and then I don't know, say I told you so when it actually happens. Next up, a little bit of merch news. Just want to let you know that SPL jerseys are available now. So pick one up and support your favorite team. We're moving towards SWC. So, I mean, you know, what better to rock to SWC than your favorite team's jersey?
You could wear Amaterasu hoodie every day.
That's true. You could also do that, but not all of us are that cool, unfortunately. So
I'm just imagining, like, AJ's suitcase opening up once he gets to Texas, and it flips over, and it's just like 10 Amaterasu hoodies.
Oh yeah,
it's nothing else.
We're gonna do like the
maybe
staff.
I'll wear a jersey just to mix it up. Everyone's gonna be like, who's that guy?
It'll be you're like, oh yeah, I wore a jersey every day, it's just under the hoodie.
Yeah, it's on
so super cool. And yeah, that covers it for the news, I guess. So again, so many things going on. Super cool October Smite Night or Halloween Smite Night. Monster Cat bundle, Avatar bundle on the way, Golden Bolts, an incredible amount of things. So make sure y'all are keeping an eye on that and checking the update notes for more information on anything that might have flown over your head because I was talking really fast. So next, we're moving into quality of life. And this quality of life change roundabout is related to CC and the icons, I guess, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So, you know, recently we've recategorized a lot of CC, you know, made roots hard CC, things along those lines, and wanted to increase some clarity on the CC duration bars that you see that fill out.
Those are the black and white bars and icons that will apply on enemy or friendly nameplates. So like of your player character.
Got it.
Yep. So now Roots and Mesmerize will have new icons so that they can be a little bit more clear. And other hard CCs have been adjusted to better reflect the closest other similar CC. There's some more details on the actual notes that, if you're interested, I would encourage you to check out.
Yeah.
And a shout out to Lermy on this one.
Yeah, true. Lermy was the leading force on this one. So again, the refined, more eloquently written version of that is on the update notes. So make sure y'all check it out. You'll be able to see or get a preview of what some of those symbols will look like as well. So always good to check the update notes. Next up, we have a bit of a bug fix here that we're really, really proud of, actually. And AJ, if you want to get into this one.
Yeah, this is one we want to talk about. So we have likely found a bug fix that is causing a majority of the console lobby problems. So I know a lot of people are having getting some frustration from loading into a game Smite, getting into the pre-match lobby, usually on ranked only on consoles, and then they would often just lose responsiveness or become frozen or eventually crash or get kicked and then get deserter, etc. So we do believe we have a large solution. We don't want to call it entirely fixed. As we can see, this has been a really complicated issue. We've been looking into it, been gathering data for months. We have been making progress bit over bit, but this is a big milestone in the progress on it. So don't want to call it completely fixed,
Of course.
but this should improve it by a noticeable amount next update. And of course, if you're already one person who's been experiencing this, please continue to let us know if it's better, if it's worse, if it's the same. Shout outs to Kitten of Doom, who's been doing tons of work with the QA team and the engineering team to track this down. Oh, she's written up so much good documentation, so much specific detail, talking to players, trying to figure this out more specifically. We've been running so many tests over previous patches, but yeah, this is a big milestone. Thank you so much for everyone for the feedback you've given us to help us track this down, and hopefully this is a big step forward. And if we see any more issues like this pop up, hopefully we'll be able to address them quickly. We've gotten a lot more.
Yeah, it's been a lot of learning, and it's been quite a process. But again, y'all always help.
Video games are a complicated business, you know. I know that you hear that probably sometimes from everyone, but it's true.
Yeah, it sounds like a cop-out when we're like, guys, video games are hard. But no, they're actually just really hard. Like, that's just no gaff. That's just true.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. And that is kind of the end of that. We're on to a section that I always super love. The section where we get to show you all the cool new skins coming out. So first off, we're going to talk about the Reaping. The Reaping is coming back to Smite. We're super excited for it. For those of y'all who have experienced the Reaping before, you kind of understand how this event works, but I'm going to run you through it briefly anyway. You earn pumpkins by rolling the chest or buying the skins from the Reaping event, and there are rewards per the amount of pumpkins you get. If you get up to 3 pumpkins, you will have an Aphrodite skin, which we'll be showing you in just a second, obviously. And if you get all the way to 6 pumpkins, you'll get a Scylla skin, which I very purposefully did not put the full name of the Scylla skin in my description here when I practiced this in the mirror, because the skin is so cool that I want you to see it like when we see it here in a minute. So super incredible, but the Reaping is back. And I love the Reaping. And let's just get right into looking at the skins, starting with the first one, which is, I'm flipping over my notes to make sure I do this in the right order. Haha. Dark Magic Aphrodite.
Very excited for this one.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Definitely on theme, you know, very Halloween, very creepy, but really, really awesome type of thing for Aphrodite. You know, she's got the one witch skin, but this is like a very different type of magic, you know, dark magic type of feeling.
For sure.
Is very goth fashion.
Yes.
Goth is a good word for that.
And I remember when we first brought up like goth Aphrodite, everyone was like, yes, immediately, yes. Like that sounds amazing.
So boxes checked.
Ooh, look at that. Very nice.
I love the energy coming off the staff. Those effects are really awesome.
I'm noticing the material work on that cloth. You can see the intricate detail, even from a distance, and I'm sure it looks even better close up.
Yeah,
we have
super
much
awesome.
to learn about this
Cool. Let's roll the voice.
And we're back.
Yeah. All right. So super excited about it, and if y'all didn't hear the voice line, don't worry, we didn't either, but you'll hear it. It's on. You can hear it in game or on the patch notes. So next up in the Reaping event, we have Honey Bunny Bastet.
Yeah, this one was a fun one to play around with a lot. You know, we end up playing with these skins a lot during playtesting as they're starting to come out and make sure everything's good. And Honey Bunny Bastet was one that many of us were laughing about over and over and over again. Like,
And there she is.
It's just nothing bad here. It's just all good
feat
stuff.
of design and engineering coming together to turn a Catwoman into a bunny woman and her cat pets into Jackrabbit style bunny pets, which are really cool. And overall, the skin just looks awesome. I'm really happy with the fashion choices that the artist made in designing her outfit. She looks really good, and as we keep moving through the visuals, skin just looks really good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
it just
really
looks
does.
really good all around. Really fun theme for Bastet. Oh, there we go.
Nice.
In game for this one.
True. We're in a different environment. Still, yeah, absolutely great looking though. I super love it. And like you said, the color scheme is incredible. I love the like pink, blue, or to purple, the hue shifting type stuff. It's just always a pleasure to look at that color scheme, especially in game too.
And throwing a giant bunny at people is just really
Never gets old. Never gets old.
True.
Throwing cats was fun for a while, but it's like we've done that.
Yeah.
What's
Been there.
next?
We've
Been
done
throwing
that.
cats for a while, so super excited for this one. I absolutely love the look of it, and I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's just a great skin, and y'all definitely have to get in and check out the Jackrabbit for sure, because that's what our artists were telling us about. So let's hear the voice line for this one. Cool, cool,
Spun
cool.
Bun is ready to kick some butt.
Awesome, awesome. Well, again, another super cool skin to look forward to. I super duper love it, and we have more to go. So next up in the Reaping event, we have Plague Purger Raw.
Yeah, this one is a skin that I got to write the voice pack for, and I really enjoy this type of theme with this like creepy doctor, plague doctor who no one really knows where he came from or what he's up to or what his motivations are, but no one seems to get better when he's around. Everyone actually just keeps getting more and more sick. Like, it doesn't seem to make any sense.
He's doing his best.
Look at him. You can tell he's studying up. But in general, I thought that this was just the weapon was such a cool design and so evocative.
Almost scythe-like, which is very fitting for the Reaping.
Very much so. Yeah,
Very
I
much
think
so.
I think the skin turned out really, really, really well.
The bird skull symbolism and visuals is just always super badass. Anytime I see that on a skin, I'm like, yup, I'm into it. Cool to see another dark skin for Ra. We don't see too many of those. He tends to be a good guy most of the time. So this is kind of nice to see a little bit more of a dark theme. And it looks fantastic. Just a lot of good detail.
I wonder if, with all those crow skulls, I wonder if he's kind of hanging out with, what is it, Crow of Torment Hades, the new T5 skin. I wonder if they're in cahoots.
We're all trying to figure out who the guy who did this to Hades, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he's the one who tormented him with crows.
Who knows? Yeah. Anyway, let's hear a voice line.
Of course,
Cool
I'm here
stuff.
to help.
Next up, another skin coming to you from the Reaping event. We have Cyber Wolf Scotty. So for those Scotty fans out there, we got a cool skin. I mean, the cyber aesthetic is one that I have always really liked in our skins, and Scotty really just fits the theme so well. And that
Now, this
art.
card art is absolutely sick. Like, extremely dynamic action pose. I love it. And you can see Calder just chilling back there.
And a lot of lightning, which is the coolest thing that any character can do under any circumstances.
I mean,
does like lightning.
That's
I
true.
love lightning.
Robo-Dog!
Robo-Dog.
And Robo-Dogs.
Yeah. Really cool.
I mean, yeah, just incredibly cool. I super love, again, it's the cyber theme, the metal plating, all of that. Super happy for it. I'm excited for this to come out. I know Kitten of Doom's excited for this to come out too.
Man,
So.
when you're playtesting these skins, 5 days a week, and you just get to hear how excited Michaela is to play Scotty and all those playtests, and she's a really good Scotty player. That's
no
her
doubt.
main. So I've been that Robo-Dog has done some serious damage to me, and it's not even hit the live servers yet.
So already some pain. All right.
Yep.
Well, voice lines, for those of you who have noticed, are being a little wonky right now. So you'll be able to hear them through the patch notes. So for now, we're gonna move past it. So next up, and this one I am so excited for,
Let's go.
is the Scylla skin, Toonie Terror Scylla. I was so excited I almost couldn't say it.
Yes.
That's
More of this.
incredible.
Now, we've done a Toon skin before, but not quite in this style. And this was one that I think this style was kind of the original motivator to a lot of community and a lot of inspiration internally. Now that we've gotten some practice with it, we were really excited to bring it to life here on Scylla skin. And it looks so good, and it fits her really well.
Yeah.
I love how menacing she was in the card art. She's like looming over this steamboat like she's going to destroy it. But that's Scylla's thing. She's seemingly cute and disarming, but she is a terrifying monster after all.
Yeah.
This skin has a bunch of extra features with it as well as the final reward in the event.
Yeah, so again, this is the 6 pumpkin reward from the Reaping event, and I mean, and I had to call out the card art real quick. I love that the Toon Baron is standing on the boat she's looming over.
Oh.
So, I love when gods are in the same card art. I love it so much. But this is one of those skins that is cool to look at here, but is, I think, worth going in-game for.
Oh,
so
nice.
Let's check it out in-game.
Inject this directly into my veins. This is
100%.
I can't get enough of this like theme for the skins, and as you said, AJ, like Scylla is just like the perfect type of god for it. It just fits her so well.
Just like some little flowers moving around in that
Yeah.
crush. Of course, we've got the dogs, which are all sorts of fun little doggos on this skin. Oh, they're coming out of the little doghouse.
Oh, that's
so
cute.
cool. What
The
a
cartoon doghouse.
Yeah, that's one of those like attention to detail things that like they definitely didn't have to do, and they did, and it's so much better.
I love those flowers in the flower patch too.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're cartoony yet they're alive.
Oh,
Yeah, and
that
smoke.
explosion is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And so many things. I mean, I talked to the art team about this, and they had so many things they were excited about. They have a VXG, so
Special emote.
Yeah, well, let's check out that special emote.
It's got the Cthulhu stride.
Got that like 1920s
Yes.
cartoon walk.
It's like, oh Lord, he coming.
Yeah.
Get out of
so-
my way. I got places to be.
Yeah, that is the you're
Me
like
on the way to my jungler's backhand.
I was about to say, yeah.
I'll be taking
This,
these.
oh man, this is meme factory. And it has its own signature cartoon soundtrack that
Oh
plays
my
over it that is
God.
like super fun.
Yeah.
A really well designed music.
People have been raving about it.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's fantastic.
So and
Just
this,
imagine stealing the Gold Fury and then strutting
trotting
away
back
like
off.
this. It's so
yeah.
funny.
Time to end the game, I guess.
Yeah.
So I am super excited for this, and also, and you know, shame we can't show it off right now. Y'all just have to see it in game, I guess. But super cool voice pack work as well.
Yep.
So just endless shouts out to this. I love this theme.
The definition of swag right here.
Truly, this is me 10-0 walking back to lane to continue being the winner, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, so definitely we hope y'all love this too because we want to make a skin like this for everybody ever. So super cool, super exciting. And again, that is the reward for the reaping event. So make sure to collect those pumpkins. So man, look at her arms. That is so perfect, like the wiggly arms.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the attention to detail. I love our design teams and artists and everybody who puts these skins together. So next up, we're moving to the Reaping event chest. And the one that we're going to show off from that is Bloody Moon Nox. So super excited about that one.
This one got some buzz on Twitter.
Oh
It
yeah,
did.
esports
Skin.
doing a spoiler on us.
Got to
Yeah.
make a little meme about it. We figured, you know, let's give people a little taste of Halloween before Halloween. And glad to know y'all liked it. Here she is in all of her vampire glory.
How could you not?
Who's the cooler goth, Nox or Aphrodite? Nox is like always the goth, so she maybe gets an advantage. But
Right.
then Aphrodite's, that's a big change for her.
True.
But both the outfits look great. Both of the goddesses look amazing. Really on point for the theme. Overall, I think our community's going to
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I have no doubt they will for sure, and it's just a super good skin. I'm super happy with it, and yeah, again, we love how hype y'all got on Twitter for it. We were glad to see that. Like that's one of those things where when y'all get excited like that, everybody that worked on this, everybody that's part of the SMITE teams, always sit back and they're like, oh, they love it. Thank you so much. Like it's such a good time. So there is another skin that is a part of this chest. I'm fairly certain, but it's for a little later. We're gonna tuck that in the back pocket, and we'll talk about it later.
Sneaky.
Okay.
So,
So sneaky.
moving past that, so the Reaping's going to obviously drop when this update goes live next Tuesday, October 18th. But coming also in that are some more Odyssey skins. You know, the Odyssey Soaring Isles is still going strong, and Blazing Tormentor Sylvanas is one of the skins coming out on October 18th.
Spooky Odyssey skins.
Spooky Odyssey skins, yeah, very thematic. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, I feel like it's been a minute since Sylvanas got, wow, that's horrifying.
My favorite thing is Sylvanas' face mask.
Yes. Yeah. I
Just
love
like
it.
Got the
brrr,
perma
with that
frown.
big frown.
Yeah.
But you know, Sylvanas doesn't have a lot of dark skins either.
No.
He's got a crossover, but this is more of something that's all his own.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to see a change up on a god like this. And ooh, a lot of cool stuff going on. I love that little creepy frown face on Sylvanas himself.
Yeah,
But that Goliath Grover is looking real cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. I love how, like, this is the same pose that Sylvanas makes on his base skin, you know, up on top, like, holding on. And it's, like, endearing and cute whenever the old man is doing it. This is horrifying. Like, this
Yeah.
little mask guy just running around all over the place, and now he's, like, leering over you from on top of this Goliath. It's spooky, man.
It is.
Yeah, there are so many things that I mean, I hadn't even noticed the mask before you pointed that out, which is now my favorite thing. But like the segments in the armor all lit up by like the fire underneath,
Yeah.
and it's a super amazing skin to look at.
A
so-
gladiator helm reminiscent on the Grover too, which is cool.
Yeah.
It ties it back into Smite, but ever so subtly.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's such a subtle way. So super great. Again, Odyssey Soaring Isles. The next one, same from the Odyssey. Darkest Night, Jablanque.
Oh, that's a good pun right there. I don't
Yeah.
usually
Yep.
like pun names, but that's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of a take on a rogue or assassin feel
Yeah,
for
for sure.
Jablanque. He's got a little bit more, let's see, with this kind of, witch hunter, gothic universe type of gear.
Yeah.
With the flail for his bolas.
Yep.
And then I'm always a big fan of the thief mask and the hood look. Like, that looks
Yeah,
dope on
it's super
anyone.
dope.
Call me edgy all you want. It looks dope. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know what to say to you.
I'll take
Yeah.
my lumps.
I love that we've got a couple skins in this type of theme with like Tsukiyomi having that fiend hunter type of skin. Athena has a really good one. I really like the skins in this theme, so excited to see Xbalanque kind of being added on to those ranks.
Yeah. And the orange highlights, like on the shield right there that it just showed off, like I love when there's a highlighting color like that. And it's just, it's so shiny looking. I absolutely love it. I think it looks incredible.
He's very stealthy. In the X-Bal's base anim set is very, you know, like agile and roguish, so this just plays into it super well. And I know, though we can't hear voice packs, he does have a nice, like, sly British roguish voice pack, which is
Yeah, so super exciting. And oh, look, we get a little preview too. That's
nice.
cool. That coloring is so, like, that bright orange is incredible.
Yeah, that fits very, very well.
Light 'em
for
up.
sure.
Light them up. Awesome.
Very cool.
Man, Ares is taking the heat. All right, well, super cool. So those, again, are Odyssey Soaring Isle skins. You can look out for these, again, October 18th when the update drops, and we're super excited for y'all to get into it. So next up, we have another addition to the SMITE skins coming out October 18th, and this one I'm super excited about. We
It's a big
actually
one.
have a crossover skin. We have Cinderfall Morgan Le Fay.
It's a brand new character coming
Yeah.
to the Ruby roster in SMITE. I
Yeah.
mean, not a new Ruby, but new to SMITE
New
as
to
part of
SMITE
the
Ruby
Ruby
character.
characters.
Yeah, coming to the Ruby chest, to be specific. So, and I mean, that card art is incredible.
So cool.
Like, incredibly beat. I like the dragon in the background, the fire in the eye, and the foot, and the hand, and the sword. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, just unbelievable, super cool theme for Morgan Le Fay to have, and how well it fits with the Ruby stuff is really exciting to see every time.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what the team was able to do with the effects and all that kind of stuff, because the card art's looking incredible.
Yeah, and the in-game model too. Like, it's been a while since we've had a Ruby, an addition to the
Sure
Ruby
has.
roster.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
it's about time.
It is about time. Yeah, and
Said Reddit to me before we made this.
So, I mean, but it's just incredible to look at. Like look at the sword too. I love how it has kind of, like, the edging looks all dark and like there's a darker black, and then the fire's in the center there.
Very
Like,
cool.
The Ruby art style is just so unique that
It
you can
is.
tell right up front that it's
Yep.
a Ruby character, right? It's got that anime inspiration, but it's a very unique take on it. I love it. And there is one more extremely exciting feature about this skin, right? Right, Dandy?
Yes, there actually is. So again, 1,000 pardons for not being able to see the voice lines. They're being very rude to us. But this skin is voiced by the prolific Jessica Negri. Is that the right word? That means popular and awesome, right? That's what we're gonna
I
go
believe
with.
it's a
I'm-
sushi term.
I got all of my language skills. I erased them all for the math skills we were talking about
Okay,
earlier.
so-
But yes, the famous cosplayer and professional voice actress for this character in the Ruby series
Oh, yeah.
is also going to be voicing the skin for her character in SMITE.
yeah, which
Very
is
exciting.
unbelievably incredible. We're super honored to have had, I guess, the honor to reuse that word of working with her for this. It's an incredible voice pack. Make sure that y'all are checking it out, and make sure y'all pick this up in the Ruby chest, because again, it's just a super great addition to the roster. And like with everything, our team put a ton of work into it. So make sure you're checking it out and reveling in how good the voice acting is and how good the work was on the skin itself. So that'll actually do it for the skins that are coming out with the main update. So again, October 18th, next Tuesday, like not even far away at all. Super excited for y'all to be able to get in on that. But of course, there are skins that come out with a bonus update. So that'll be November 1st, so we have a little bit of time, and that's a little further away than October 18th. But we have Odyssey Soaring Isle skins, as always. The Odyssey is just always throwing skins at y'all, man. And the first one is Primordial Paragon Guan Yu.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite
Ooh, yeah.
skin lines that we're doing.
yeah.
Is like, I don't know exactly what it is, but I love it. Like, I don't need to know where
We
it
are
came
making
from.
up our own new stuff.
That's
now,
what I'm
and
saying.
just-
Yeah.
And I'm here for it.
It's
man.
very unique, and that's what's really exciting about it. And it looks great. We saw it on Anubis, and now
Yep.
we're going to see it here on
Yep.
Guan Yu.
Yeah.
His horse is looking really cool.
Oh, incredibly. Like the face that is like, it looks like a shield with the crystal in the middle of it, and then the chest. Oh, look at that. Look at the glaive. That
Yeah,
is
his
insane.
weapon is just unreal on this skin. Like I've been absolutely loving this skin. I can't wait for it to come out. I think it's gonna be really fun. He's got an extra sword, like just in case that massive spear isn't gonna do it for him.
Yeah, you never know.
There on the back, an auxiliary sword, if you will.
Auxiliary sword.
It's really awesome. I love this skin.
Yeah, it's an incredible skin. And like you said, this skin line is just totally unique. It's one of those where like I don't know. I can't. I like looking into the story of the skin, and I can't read the motive of these skins. You know, like usually
We'll have to come up with some backstory. I'm sure the artists have some more backstory.
Oh, I'm sure they do. It's just usually with bright colors like this, I'm like, all right, good guy. He's like white and purple. Like that seems like good guy colors, but they have such a scary presence. It's like, I don't know.
Well, they are at their core, they are alien conquerors. That's
fair.
I can confirm that much at least.
Okay, so Conqueror does usually have a negative connotation. So all right, either way, super cool. This is the first of 2 skins with Odyssey Soaring Isles coming on November 1st. The second of which being Spy Master Kali.
Yeah, this one again. Whoever was on the mask duty on the art team for this patch knocked it out of the park. Because
For sure.
The Sylvanas mask really cool, and this little mask like the Plague Doctor Ra. We're just in a mask mood, which
Yeah.
is like appropriate for,
Yeah,
for the
it's
Halloween.
October.
This Witch Hunter Gothic universe is a really cool place to explore, and I'm like really excited how unique this skin came out when exploring that space. He's got a lot of different type of visuals. That mask being white really stands out.
Yeah.
The hat is very new. We haven't quite seen something like that. You can see all different clothing details. It looks like there's some celestial vibes going
Yeah, and
on
like
in
the
the
jacket
clothing. Her weapon looks really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it here. Oh yeah, those kind of almost Egyptian-inspired Kopesh scythes look really cool.
Yeah. If you
Spear.
see someone wearing like this getup, you're like, they know things that I'm not important enough to know.
Yeah, right.
They know things about how the universe works that I just like can't conceptualize.
And I mean, I'm biased because Kali is my default try-hard jungler, and she's also statistically extremely powerful.
It's true.
So, all together, you're gonna want to pick this one up, and just this will help you. This will, I can tell you, help you crush the ranked kings. Statistically confirmed.
Yeah. Statistically, I mean, y'all heard it here first. So there are
Well, not the skin, but learning to play Kali will help you.
Yeah, and the skin is just icing on the cake. So
Exactly.
Super excited for that. And again, excited to have this coming out as part of the Odyssey Soaring Isles on the bonus update, so November 1st.
I've got to wait a little. I gotta wait.
You do have to wait a little bit.
But
I
I'm
mean,
still gonna be excited.
Yeah, anything worth the wait. So next up, the final skin coming with the bonus update on November 1st, again, is one I'm really excited for. Part of the Chibi Bonanza chest, Rumbly Chibi Thor.
Chibi Thor.
Chibi Thor.
Oh, look at him. He's cute.
He's
Look
so
at him.
fierce.
He's
you
so
know? Look at
rumbly.
this little guy. Like he's just doing his thing. Again, lightning, which is the coolest thing anyone can do, except for everything that Maui does. And all the chibi skins are always like hilarious. Big head, tiny body, always a funny comment.
Look at him.
Yeah.
What a hunk, too, with his foot up like on the hammer. Like, what's up?
Oh, look at the hammer.
His hands are so small.
Yeah.
How do they even lift the hammer, man? It's so funny.
That's
It's not
incredible.
the size that matters. He's
Heard it here first,
got
folks.
the power.
He sure does. You know, he's worthy, and that's all that really matters, right?
Yeah, incredibly worthy. And
How dare we let the balance team buff Thor
Yeah.
while he's getting a skin like this?
it makes it all the better, you know? Like, well, I can talk my head in
I
circles.
promise you it was not intended.
Yeah.
No.
It's one of those, again, the karmic gumbo is what you said?
Cosmic
Cosmic
gumbos,
gumbo.
yeah.
It's kind of a
Cosmic
cosmic gumbo.
A little bit
That's
of
what me and Agra
Right, we always say that.
Got it.
we say that.
I don't mean to buy in
Around
on
this-
that.
around
No,
the
it's
studio.
fine. You can say it too if you want, but
All right.
it's important that we say it.
You don't say that.
Roger that. How about we go in game to
You're not
distract-
part of the turbo team.
Let's go in game to distract from me saying that. Oh my gosh, look at his eyes.
They are piercing in game. I'll say that. Like the first time that someone walked into lane using Chibi Thor, I was like, my God, he can see right through me.
I like how we really used cuteness as part of the horror themes of this October update.
We really
Cute
did.
can be terrifying, and that's something that SMITE means to teach you. Look at that damage on that wall.
Wow.
65.
You never thought you'd see it.
Yeah. Well, you know, since like Alpha or whenever it was. That was before my time I was playing that it did damage.
Oh yeah,
It's got me beat a little bit, too.
I forgot that even is a closed. Was that even closed beta, or was that like dev PTS?
I think that was literally like his
Thor.
release.
Thor was not okay. Thor released into the beta with that wall damage.
I think so. I don't think it stunned, and I think it did damage.
Oh, okay.
And it got some changes. That's if my memory being told what it was like back in the day is correct.
Well, look at that. You get a bit of a history lesson here today, too. So, because that was even before my time. I was playing circa, 2015, 2016 is when I really kicked into it. So, I'm learning things. But, yeah, I love these skins, dude. Like,
He's so funny.
he's
Yep.
so funny, so angry, too. Wow.
Well, yeah, he's got to go back. He's mad.
Yeah, he's got to go buy. He's mad he doesn't have boots.
Can't buy boots anymore.
I'm sorry. I just had
Maybe
to
you
say
could
it.
fish them up though.
You could.
Oh, you know what?
but only if you're in a cinematic.
I'm gonna use that as a segue. That's called a segue in this business.
Yeah, that's what we do.
And that's gonna segue us to the next part of this beautiful adventure, the new god Maui. So how about we check out this cinematic before we get into it?
Rated T for teen.
I mean, what can I say? It's Maui. You
Yeah.
look proud. You look incredibly proud.
It's so crazy that it's like time, you know?
Yeah.
Finally here.
It's
We are
so crazy
here.
how long ago, I mean, I started working on Maui. I'm still so ingrained on saying my first god instead of like saying Maui, and so I don't
Maui.
leak anything. Started working on Maui in like spring, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, it's so long until he comes out. And
Yeah.
it happens a lot faster than, that time gets eaten up pretty quickly, it
Oh,
turns out.
I
I've learned.
bet for sure. I mean, I feel proud that I've been able to sit here through two people's first gods, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and here we are for yours. I mean, this is your spotlight. This is Maui. So kind of give us the rundown. What inspired Maui?
Yeah, I mean, he's just such a huge part of so many different mythos. You know, all those Pacific Islands have different stories about Maui. They have
Yeah.
similar stories about Maui. You know, we ended up really focusing in on the Hawaiian interpretation of a lot of these lore, but
Yeah.
you know, the Maori people have a lot of stories about Maui and all that kind of stuff. And the feats that Maui did, we know Prometheus's name because Greek mythology is very popular.
Of course.
And all he did, was
All.
discover fire for humans.
Yeah.
Maui did that, plus pulled up the land they lived on, plus made room for the plants to grow, plus introduced people to being able to see beautiful birds they couldn't see before. Like,
Yeah.
all these things that Maui did would have earned him a spot on the roster if he had only done one of them. And he did like 6 things that were that level of
Yeah.
importance to the people. So he's just such a popular folk hero because he does these incredible feats, but he's also like not a holier than thou, like whatever. He's
Yeah.
in his downtime, he gets yelled at by his brothers for being lazy, and I'm sure no one has any type of relation to that.
Never.
It's just how it goes. I just think that I feel very fortunate that I got a god in Maui that is so, his personality is so in the forefront. It's
Yeah.
so big. It's so fun. And I'm unbelievably happy with how he turned out. I think that the team did a great job at showcasing those in his animation and in his voice and in his effects and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
That is incredible to hear about. I mean, let's check out the card art while we're here. Let's see what
Yeah.
that looks like. Look at that.
He's cheesing, you know? He wants you to know that he's like, yeah, I'm sick. Like,
Yeah.
you see that cool thing I just did? Like,
Charisma,
it was
I
nice.
believe, is the word I
Tons of
ended
it.
up using in
Yeah.
the blog post. I had
Yep.
to restrain myself from using it multiple times, but he's a cultural icon. He's down to earth, though.
Yep.
He's a lot of fun,
Yeah, I was
even when he's working.
Yeah, because from what I know about him is he's kind of like, I feel like trickster's the wrong word. That's Loki's thing, and Loki is not as nice. Like Maui is like, he's playful, you know, like he does all
He's
these
chaotic
things.
good.
Yeah, in such
Right.
a playful manner. Because like, I mean, as you said, so much of what he's done was to help the people, was for the people. So like, but he still has that playful attitude, that kind of like, I can't think of any other thing to say. It's charismatic and fun.
Yeah, the trickster is a really like archetype across all different types of mythology, which is really cool to see. Now another one that's got a unique twist. I think he's even more good than the usual trickster. He's just
Yep.
a little mischievous, and that's mostly when you think about it from the perspective of the gods.
Yeah, really,
He's the
the other
one
way.
like they're like, oh, I got to deal with this Maui guy again. It's like he's the one they're messing with. But humanity, he's always looking out for.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So that's super incredible. Let's see the turnaround too. Like, I mean, you can't not.
Yeah, I mean,
Here we go.
Look at that.
just so cool. You know, he does all these incredible feats of strength, and we wanted to make sure that he felt strong, that he felt like he was the guy to do, you know, pull up islands out of the ground and lift the sky a little bit higher, you know, lasso the sun, all that kind of stuff. And I think that his model came out feeling so good. You know, he's a big dude, he's strong, and he shows it. But he's very agile and able to get around and do his thing really, really effectively. And I think he turned out great.
And because he was so helpful and supportive, that's why we designed him as a guardian and a support for Smite. I think people kind of perceive him as maybe a little more aggressive, but from all of our research and his personality, he just seemed so friendly, and his confidence would be contagious on the battleground, and that's what we wanted to represent all the way through the gameplay, and of course the animations and the voice.
I can definitely see that because, I mean, for one, like, it shows his personality through that smile he's wearing right there. Like, it very much shows off what type of person he is. But like you said, he's a big guy. This is not a small guy. But unlike somebody like Atlas, who is a relatively new Guardian, he doesn't seem heavy. Atlas seems, every step he takes seems like it weighs, you know,
well, he holds up the entire cosmos.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But I'm just saying, that's another thing I love about our design team is, you know, Maui's a big guy, but he's always moving and shaking. He's not lumbering around or anything. So the fact that he looks light on his feet, even just with this animation, just a big cheers to our team. And as for always, it would be a shame not to go in game and actually see Maui. So let's go ahead and hop in game and check this out.
Gotta see all the abilities.
Gotta
You got
do
it.
it,
You know what? Yeah, show us the abilities. Run us through them.
Yeah. Just go a little wild, you know?
That is a lot of Odins.
That's a lot of
There they go.
Odins.
Oh, that's incredible.
They weren't where they were a second ago.
They are not. All right, so we just saw a whole lot of things there, and this is the part where we really get into it and start talking about it. So we got to start slow. Can't get too excited all at once.
Yep.
How about the basic attack?
Yeah, so you might notice that Maui has a little targeter with him all the time. That's because he has a new unique range and new unique type of basic attack. So we've got a lot of characters who cleave, but not ones who cleave more vertically, so to speak. So his basic attack range is 25. For context, normal melee basic attacks go about 12. Spear users like Achilles go about 16. Maui is this new medium short range is what I've been kind of describing it as. It does hit everything in the area. You know, he's a guardian, so his basic attack damage is very low. It's very much like Sylvanas or something like that, who also has AoE basics, but those are a little bit more ranged. He's got this big hook. You know, we wanted him to use it more like a fishing hook than a club. And so if you've got a big hook on a lot of rope, like, you're not going to be just using it right in front of you, right? You gotta use that range advantage a little bit. And it has been, you know, it's a little thing like that to just extend the basic attack range, but it feels very unique and very fun when you get a chance to really get in there and hit people from the little spacing games of other melee characters. It's really fun.
Not to mention the troll full basic attack power builds we've tried running, which
I sure have.
We have tested. We don't believe they're very good, but we know people are going to do it anyway.
I'll
So
tell
go
you
ahead
what,
and have fun.
When you have Hastened Ring, it feels really good.
I was
in the
literally
30
thinking about
seconds
it.
after Hastened Ring is down, you won't be doing a whole lot the vast majority of the time.
I
But for
was
that little amount of time, you're going to be like, wow,
we
this
would
is
not
crazy.
recommend it, but we know they're
No.
going to try anyway, so we got to call it out. It is a lot of fun, and it is really unique for the character. And while we're talking about this, might as well just get it right out in the front. The hook and the rope.
Yes.
There's a lot. There's a lot of back end work that went into that. We gotta call out some gratitude to our rigging, animation, tech art teams. Rope physics are no joke in video games, in any game. I remember like an E3 trailer, I think it was for Last of Us or something like that, that just showed like 30 seconds of something of them just messing with the rope just to show that how much rope they had. Rope physics are tough. We had a lot of stuff going on to make these visuals look really good. It took a lot of effort, a lot of testing, a lot of iteration, but it looks great.
It's a good point. I should issue a formal apology on the Patch Notes show to Ashley, our animation lead, who during our brainstorm said, this is all really cool, but let's not use too much rope. And then I turned around and was like, okay, so here's the kit, and it uses a ton of rope. So
We really
sorry
just
about that.
leaned into that as the hook for the kit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We wanted to use it. It's a very unique weapon, and that's what's going to play up his uniqueness of his whole kit, really.
Yep.
Yeah, and all right, so, I mean, let's keep moving. Next up, we have the passive, and I'm going to pass this to you to pronounce. Because
You're so scared, Harrison.
I am
Just a little,
horrified.
just a big old word. It's Manaya Kalani is
is
the
that
name of his hook.
Manaya Kalani.
It translates to "made fast to the heavens," which was very wordy as well. So we decided to go with the more traditional word for it.
Yeah.
And this one's really cool. So anytime an enemy god near Maui is hard crowd controlled, whether it be by him or by one of his allies, they will gain a mark. So for Billy, I don't know how we're going to jump around. Actually, if you do / pawn dev test space the number 1, it'll turn it on for you. Nope, don't type /. That's not how it works. Okay, man. Yeah,
Touche, touche.
pawn dev test, PAWN. Nope, not like pon. PAWN.
I was seeing live back end.
DEV
Whoa.
test, TEST, space, the number 1. Bang. Okay, you get you enhance your basic, and you'll see more about how to do this later on in the kit. We're just trying not to spoil it. When your basic attack is enhanced, your next basic will pull enemy gods hit to you. So that's why
So
these
crazy.
semi-ranged basic attacks end up being pretty impactful for the kit.
Got a pull on his passive.
You can get a pull. I mean, everyone knows it's a hook. It's a guy who's carrying around a hook. You've got to pull people, and
Yeah.
we delivered on that. I can safely say you're gonna be pulling people a lot. This does have a cooldown. You'll see in the passive meter there. Using the cheat code that won't work in your games. Don't try it. Of the passive meter filling up. That can only happen once every 10 seconds. And again, when someone gets hard crowd controlled, a mark will appear above their head. You must basic attack them in order to charge your next basic, and then it will pull. So you can get your passive charged off someone.
Then you
in
can
dual
hold the
lane,
charge for
hold
any
it,
amount of time,
yep,
right?
walk
Okay, it
towards
doesn't
mid,
expire. That's awesome.
and then come in here and pull this guy who happens to be a little bit out of position. And that will pull any gods in that area that are enemies.
This is especially cool when you get to trigger it off like your hunter,
Yep.
If you have a hunter like, say, Neath Root, which
Yep.
roots are now hard CC now, and she can root your opponent. You can walk up, basic attack them, trigger your hook, and then pull them after the root is done. Really gives them a lot of synergy with those gods.
Yes,
That's awesome.
Really fun creating comps that Maui works really well with, and
Yeah.
giving him some natural strength and some natural weaknesses where he won't be quite as good if your team doesn't have a lot of hard crowd control. And so bringing some of that decision making into where is a good Maui game is something that I find very fun.
Awesome. Well, that's super cool, and I love the fact that you can pull multiple people because the potential for that in a team fight, where whether you're using it to help get somebody off your damage, or whether you're positioning their damage to get dunked, I think it's super
Yes,
incredible.
the peel potential is a really good thing to do.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yep, absolutely. Now it does respect CC immunity and knockback immunity, because that's technically what it is. So
Yeah.
you have options being hit or not hit by it as the enemy, but it definitely feels very, very good to keep people in your team's range for you.
Awesome, awesome. Well, cool. Let's move on to something I can pronounce. Ability 1, Master Fisherman.
Yeah, Master Fisherman. So this one, I mean, it just felt very natural. He starts to spin his hook, and it begins to grow in distance, very similar to something like Olarun 1,
Yeah.
that it will grow as you continue to charge. But then you can hold it and walk around spinning the hook and kind of keeping your threat nice and high. And then when you throw it, it will go out and attach to the first enemy god hit, and Maui will begin to reel them in. They are crippled and vortexed, so neither one is a hard CC.
Technically a soft season.
Technically soft CCs. Think of Vortex as Baron Samdi's
I was about
ult.
to say, okay.
Yep, that's the easiest one, or Hades ult, or Poseidon Whirlpool. We've got a good amount of Vortexes out there. But you can fight against it. You're not going to necessarily be pulled quite this far because you're going to be trying to move away from it.
These Odin butts cannot do.
No,
True.
they cannot do. So
just
it won't
chilling.
pull you quite this far, but it is your primary safe setup ability in the kit. It does go through minions and can help you clear the wave as well, but it's body blockable, so solo lane or something like that, people can simply stand in front.
It's still pretty much his primary wave clear.
Yes, correct. It is basically his only wave clear.
Got it.
Unless you want to be
Sorry,
a little risky.
solo laners.
I think they'll find a way
They'll-
around
they'll
the fight, I
figure it
guess.
Yeah,
But
that auto attack, man.
this ability took a lot of tuning and trying to make it feel, good and fun on both ends. Maui does also get to move a little bit during the reel in, so it feels like that cool tug of war. But this man's strong enough to pull up islands. Of course, he can
Yeah.
win his tug of wars.
It's a tricky skill shot as well. It's these Odins
Pretty
making
narrow.
it easy, but
Yeah.
it's missable,
yes.
jukeable, which is good.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
for
agree. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. Feels like a very potent peel tool that you can keep a warrior off of your ADC with very easily.
Yeah.
But not always, it's no Athena taunt for setting up multiple members of the enemy team.
Got it.
And it just feels so Maui.
It does. does.
It does. Hey, I have to respect the attention to the fishing mini game because it's not a good catch if you're, if you just pull them right in. In fact, they can fight back. I mean, it's not a he didn't.
It's a big one.
Yeah. So super cool, super exciting. Next up, another ability, Mystical Ulua. I was brave. I tried that one.
And you got it right.
Nice.
Yeah, Mystical Ulua. So Ulua fish are very a big part of Hawaiian culture, so we were really excited to be able to incorporate that into the kit. This ability does absolutely 0 damage.
Got it.
0 to enemies. You can toss it, won't do anything.
Got it.
Gods, minions, doesn't matter. This is a pure support ability. So when you hover it, you can see a bigger area. Anyone in that area, when the fish lands, will gain protections and movement speed for a short amount of time, 5 seconds. So the idea is it's supposed to feel like throwing a mini relic into the middle of your team fight. And good relic usage, as all good supports know, is a huge part of what you're supposed to be doing. This has felt very fun to use in that manner. But you might notice that it leaves behind a little special something, a nice little pillar of water. Big shout out to Shane for these awesome effects. That is the timer of how long that water will last, is the big pillar.
Really cool.
And if an ally god stands on that water for 1 second, a bubble will form around them, and they will be transported to Maui. It is basically like putting down a Heimdall crystal for your ally.
It's a little untargetable trip.
Yep, exactly. So you can save your poorly positioned backliner, as they always are. You can be in an aggressive position and get your jungler into an aggressive position with you, or your warrior, or any of those people. You'll see a pretty big range when you toss it and no one is taking it. You can see the kind of aura radius that if Maui leaves that aura radius, then it will instantly break unless someone is attempting to channel on it. We don't want those bad feelings of I was almost safe and then my Maui took 1 too many steps. And all of a sudden I'm up the creek with no paddle. That way we at least let you try and finish the channel, but it has felt really, really fun to use. It does get people over walls.
Oh, that's so cool.
This is the ability that's going to really cause a lot of awesome creativity. I can't wait to see what players do.
An extremely unique ability, even without using the hook, which relying on a lot of the unique, a very unique high skill ceiling.
Yep.
We can use it, and a true supportive ability. So all around, really cool thing. As Agro mentioned, there's a lot of user experience edge cases that the design team has already accounted for, trying to make this as user friendly as possible. If Maui gets outside the area while someone is traveling, they will stop at the edge of the area. So we tried to avoid like infinite Maui distance shenanigans.
Okay.
So you'll stop at the edge of the circle, which is intended. But outside of that, we tried to favor the traveler as much as we possibly could.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
You also get the buff after traveling.
Correct. Yep. So even if you don't get the buff from being in the area, if you walk up to the water pillar afterwards, you'll gain the protections and movement speed for going through the bubble. Only one god. You can't transport multiple, anything like that. But yeah, very
Only
excited.
one per deploy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Per deploy. Can't have. If you have one out with enough cooldown reduction, then you toss another one. It'll break the first one. Only
Max one.
Yep. Max 1. But yeah, the playmaking potential with this ability has been unreal. And you might notice as well that on the passive meter, when someone is standing on your water and starting to channel the bubble, you look in the center of the hook, there's a little gem of water.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's a bubble.
It's a little bubble, yeah, exactly. It makes a big difference for if if I can I take a step out of the area? Are they going to come with me, or do I need to wait until they're on it? That's a really nice little quality of life thing that we were able to get in that I'm really happy with.
I was about to say, my 3 big things that I say are, 1, innovative way to make sure that you're not having to look back as Maui, because that ruins the chance to really use this effectively. So you see the bubble, you're like, I can keep going, we're good. The second thing, you're totally using the hook for this. I love how the animation has him flicking the Ulua up out of the water with a hook. So again, prevalent in everything.
Have you tried this on Corrupted Arena? If you could pull someone into the pit with you?
I sure haven't. No, that's up for our players to figure out.
Yeah.
True.
We'll see. Who knows?
And then my other favorite thing is I am so ready to initiate incredible ganks with this, where you throw this over the wall, like hook somebody, and then your jungler comes flying in, like, yo, what's up? So
You're like, oh, it's just the support coming at me. I'll be okay. And then an assassin comes through a bubble, and you're like, what?
Yep.
It is fun.
Saving
Came down in a
allies
bubble,
is
dog.
so fun. It does, I know a lot of people are probably wondering, have all the same interrupt rules as Heimdall Crystal. So if the target is stunned, rooted, crippled, then they are no longer they are no longer channeling, and they have to start from the very beginning. So all of those same rules still apply. But also, just like Heimdall, you can stand in it and beads in order to make sure that you're CC immune, and you can get that channel off. So
Now hopefully you can beads even easier.
now even easier. But that means that you can do some wild things with this, because being CC immune doesn't prevent you from being teleported, which is intended. So you could be in Scylla ult and decide to move and come out like that. You could be a Ymir channeling his ultimate, and then all of a sudden get slid to Maui and blow up in the new zone.
That's huge.
So very porous ult style wackiness that I am very excited to see all the clips of. You're going to be able to do some wild stuff with this. I'm very convinced.
Yeah, really awesome.
It's a heck of an ability.
It is. And let's move on to the third one, Solar Swing.
Man, this one, the animation team, I just can't, and really the whole team, because this took so much work on the programming end as well, and tech art and the camera and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's get to it. Maui leaps up and lassos his hook around a piece of the sun and begins to swing. He can stay up there for a swing forward, back, and forward. And it isn't a predetermined landing zone. He can jump off at any point during this time. So wanted to incorporate that that trickster aspect into the kit a little bit, and this is how we were able to do it. You're a little hard to predict in where you're going to land, but it feels so fun to use. I mean, who doesn't love the Indiana Jones like rope swing type of ability? You know, that type of moment in an adventure game or an adventure movie is always so iconic, and it just felt so appropriate for Maui to be the one to be on that type of adventure. You know, he's just out there.
A lot of
having
back-end
good
work
time.
went into making this feel smooth.
An unbelievable amount. Yeah.
More than you'd ever expect.
Yes.
That's hard.
It was a lot. But
As you've probably been noticing, this ability has a hard CC and a stun on the crash landing.
That's right.
That is what's triggering those marks, which allows Maui to passive.
That's right. So it gets a little weird when you're like stunning 53 Odin bots. So apologize.
That won't
for
happen to
but
you.
Exactly. Exactly. This is his initiation tool. You know, it is a jump, so you are just like something like Bacchus, who has a really big knockup and then a bunch of protections from his kit afterwards. It needs to have that big splashy entrance in order to justify using your escape to get in there. But it really does that very well. It feels really rewarding. It's a big landing area. You can get your CC off.
It's a very unique type of skill shot timing, too. We've never really done anything quite like this, which I really appreciate. It is just maybe you could say a circle leap at its simplest form, but that's really not how it feels, not how it plays.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I pulled off, like I led someone, and you had to plan the distance and the timing to land and hit the stun, and it felt so good to hit that. It's a really unique feeling, and it's really rewarding of the skill players get when you practice it.
It's been an absolute blast to use, and of course you can toss your 2 down and then jump over a wall or jump in and get them right there with you. It will track you where you are in your swing based on when they get there. Of course, got to put them in a valid location and all that kind of stuff.
Can't hold them in the air.
Yeah, can't do that forever. But it'll just, when the channel's done, it'll put them where you are, which is really fun. So just overall feeling really good about this, how this came out, and it feels really fun. A big one, the first time I juked to Lermy by running up to a wall and swinging, and then she jumped over expecting me to land, and I just swung back, landed back where I took off from, and turned around and ran away, was one of the hardest times I've laughed in a playtest in a long time. It has that tricky aspect to it that makes it really fun.
I mean, we can see here, you know, you got to be able to land, like get that circle out, but it looks cool too, because I mean, as was kind of just demonstrated, if you can do it just right and time it, you could throw it at your ally, swing over the wall, let them get over the wall, and then go back. So like, you don't leave the fight, you just drop somebody off, come on back, and keep doing your thing. So
it's a tricky play to pull off, but
that's,
it's
that's
cool.
high level, yeah. So super cool. Last but not least, one more ability which I'm super excited for because it is visually stunning. Let's look at Landfall.
Landfall, baby. You just pick a target out in the distance, and Maui makes mountains happen, just like that. He leaps up, grabs the island and pulls it up. This is, I'd say, the iconic lore story for Maui is raising up the islands of Hawaii and New Zealand and all of a bunch of Pacific islands. And we knew that it had to be a big part of the kit. Herc 2 is one of my favorite abilities in the whole game. It feels so fun to use. It's really splashy and in your face and in a really good way. And I mean, just ranged Herc 2 was like my first thing that I wrote down for potential ultimate ideas, and I didn't even think that it could come out looking this good. The animation team and everybody just made it look so much better than I even expected. This island does stay behind and work as a player wall that will block people
Allies
from moving
and
through.
enemies.
Yep.
So cool.
And self.
And self. You can press 4 again to drop it immediately. You don't have to wait that whole time. So if you have a little oopsie, then you can just put it down and not worry about it too much. But an unbelievable tool in team fights, especially in jungle, where you can use it to pull someone back and cut off other people's escape routes. Clumsy, one time, this is a true story, we were winning a game, all game, we were absolutely crushing them. Clumsy was playing Maui. We phantomed out of an Odin cage, and then the phantom wore off, and Clumsy Maui ulted our whole team back inside the Odin cage. And they wiped us and killed us in that fight. And I was like, wow, my own ultimate just annihilated. It is a CC that I think takes a little bit of time to get used to beadsing, but once you see it coming, I think that, and once you play against it a little bit, it becomes significantly easier to use your.
Yeah, so you do have to kind of pre-beads it, but there's a grace window there, and you can see as the timer element.
Little warning effects. Knock-up immunity works great here, and you see that the circle, the inner circle on the targeter.
Exactly.
That's just where the island is. The whole area does the same damage, the same knock-up, everything like that.
Okay.
It's just so you can place your wall very effectively and make sure that you're cutting off those choke points as you please.
Awesome. Well, I mean, that's visually and gameplay-wise, that's super incredible. I think the ability, like you said, has a lot of potential for combinations, for all kinds of play. I'm, again, over the moon to see this in-game and see how it interacts. I'm definitely a Guardian main myself, so best believe I'll be getting in there and testing out Maui basically every chance I get come Tuesday.
He's a god that really rewards the time you put into him. You know, you'll get more and more creative with ways to use your jump and your 2 and your ultimate the more and more you play him. But I think that I'm just very happy with how he turned out. I hope everyone likes him. He's not a great, if you're trying to solo queue and hard carry your ranked games, he's not as good at that as you would expect, I think, because his damage, you know, his 2 does 0 damage, his 1 is single target, his 3 is a jump, you can't use that all the time, and the ultimate is pretty good damage, but a lot of Guardian ultimates are pretty good damage. So his damage output is very low overall.
He's got the CC to make up for it.
But he's got the CC to make up for it. I think that my headline for him has been the playmaker's support. You know, he's setting up your team to do the work for you. But he's going to make it a lot easier for them to stay alive, to put people in position to hurt them, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, just unbelievably stoked to finally share him with everybody. I do, before I forget, I got to give a shout out to Brian, the programmer who headed up Maui with me. It was also his first god, and I know I made his life a lot harder than it needed to be at times, and I really appreciate how much incredible work he put into it. But as well as Michaela, or Kitten of Doom, or KD as I call her. This was her first god on the QA end to really verify, and she caught a lot of great things that made Maui feel a lot better and was instrumental in his testing. So the 3 of us, it was kind of like our first gods all together, and I really couldn't be any happier with how he turned out. But of course, it isn't just the 3 of us. It was a full team of
It takes a village.
animators and tech art and
Every
concept
god.
and all that kind of stuff. And
Months of work from many people all come together to make these gods, and they're really gorgeous pieces of art.
Yeah, and the fact that y'all are still iterating and creating new mechanic devices and new gameplay feelings after as many gods as we have. Again, I'll say this every update show. Shout out to all of our teams, man. It takes a village. So, of course, y'all have seen Maui in-game now, so now you'll have to wait for PTS and then when it goes live next week. But we got a few more things to show off. The usual kit that comes with a new god. So first up, we have the alternate colorings, alternate colored skin, Sun Tamer Maui.
real quick, I'm sorry, before we get away, it's too late, but maybe we can get back in there. But he does have a lot of really cool little nods to Hawaiian culture. I also want to give a shout out to Molly and Cliff, or Davion. two people who
Olympian Davion.
Yeah, Olympian Davion.
You know him, you love him.
You know, Molly's on our marketing team at the Hi-Rez Studios. These two were instrumental for us. I mean, they are two people who are native Hawaiians, and I bugged them with a million questions a million times, and they were so patient with me and gave us so much great reference to build off of and make sure that Maui felt authentic and really there. And also to Brent Mukai, the voice actor who was also a native Hawaiian, it was really important to us that we make sure that Maui feels like a guy that you could just run into on the island who's also like a god.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of, his taunt, his clap, a lot of different references to all of those different little pieces of Hawaiian culture that I think made him feel really, really real. He feels like a full character, and not just everything that he could be. So really, really pleased with how that turned out.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you. I spoke with so many people in the company as well to make sure that the teasers that we sent out and all that stuff were as true to the lore and the theme as they could possibly be. So, a great shout out. Thank you for doing that. Sorry for pulling us away at the end. But y'all got a teaser of the skin. Let's go back to the card art. Y'all got to see a little bit of it. Let's get back and talk about it. So this is Sun Tamer Maui. This will be one of the alternate skins that releases along with the god.
So because he has so many great myths of these feats that he did and what he did for humanity, we couldn't incorporate all of them into the kit. We talked about some fire stuff, but ultimately went a different direction. But card art is a great place for us to put these little nods to myths and mythos of these characters. So here Maui is showing the Hawaiian people how to create fire, which, as you can imagine, was pretty big for them.
Yeah, kind of a big deal. And going back to what you said about Maui being, a god, yeah, but also just one of the people, somebody you can approach. I think this card art tells that story well because he's not hovering above them and casting fire down upon them. He's sitting there like, check this out, guys. He's sitting the same way that the villagers near him are sitting, and he's like, hey, check this out.
Yep.
So it just, again, I love when card arts tell a story, and this one tells the story of a dude who's teaching somebody a new skill on their level right next to them. So super duper cool. This is, again, one of the skins that's going to come out alongside Maui, as well as the Ascended Maui skin. So Maui gets an Ascended skin as well.
Dude, this color palette in-game goes unbelievably hard.
It goes incredibly
just
hard.
Unreal. So cool. Feels so, I just love the color palette that we went with this. And again, birds being a part of his lore, wanted to incorporate that a little bit into this card art.
I just love the movement. You can feel it.
Yeah.
It's going fast.
Absolutely.
The action shot for sure. So, and again, this is the Ascended skin, so you'll get this if you have the 2022 season pass, which gives you this type of skin for every one of the gods that comes out in 2022. So definitely worth picking up as the year is almost over. So we're man, that just hurt my chest to say 2022 is coming to a close sooner than you'd think. So grab that before it's gone for sure. And this is a bit of a switch up from things we usually do. It's not very often that a god gets more than these two skins on release, and the Masteries, which we'll get into here in a second. But I figured we'd break the line real quick and show off Detoxify Maui. Maui's getting a skin on release.
That's right. Yeah, this card art is so awesome.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if the art team and everyone who plans these things knows that green is my favorite color, and they gave me a green Maui skin right off the rip, but if that was intentional, I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
It really exciting to see him get a skin really early and one that feels really cool. We kind of have these, we've got a couple skins along the lines of the, Toxic Umoja and all that kind of stuff. A little bit of a different twist for Maui. He's more of a, he's sick of seeing all this.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's a purifier.
Exactly. He's purifying the ocean and pulling out all this toxic waste.
That is clean.
Yeah, the effects are absolutely
Just
awesome.
like the environment.
Yep. No doubt about it. This skin turned out really, really cool.
Yeah.
This is part of the reaping?
Yes, this should be in the Reaping chest, if I'm
with
correct.
The Nox skin.
So it's definitely on the patch notes. If I'm wrong, you can make fun of me on Twitter if you'd like. But so this is part of that event as well. But yeah, the rare on-release god skin. So, and yeah, I think I already love the whole toxic theme, and to take that and kind of use the color scheme but turn it on its head to have the dude who's cleaning up the waters, purifying the land, what a cool aesthetic. So
yeah, very cool. I would definitely recommend not being caught polluting around detoxify Maui. That
No
would be-
littering.
Yeah,
that'd
for
be
sure.
my
Yeah,
recommendation.
no littering. That's a big no-no.
Yeah.
So yeah, super exciting, and I love that hook too. That hook is just incredible to look at. So, I mean, yeah, we're kind of coming on the end here. A few things I do want to call out about Maui too that I meant to say earlier. So with Ishtar, our beautiful audio team got stereo sound working. It was a huge task to implement that, but Ishtar was able to benefit from it as kind of the first god, and Maui has that as well. So Maui should not only look clean, but sound clean too.
Yeah.
So, which is super, super awesome. And I mean, yeah, that's just a big shout out to our sound team for being able to continue to incorporate these new pieces of technology that we're adding in
Absolutely.
as the game moves forward.
Big
So-
shout out to Chad and Kellen from the audio team, specifically Chad, who dealt with my like incessant little tiny messages to like totally redo like all these things that it didn't. I'm sure he was very much able to take all of my psychosis and crazy suggestions and make it actually good, and that was really awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just super excited. You know, it's going to be such a big deal when this comes out. And again, next Tuesday. Like, I know we've been doing this for a while now.
Still exciting.
Still
Very
exciting.
exciting.
Launch day
every
is
single
right
time.
around the corner.
Yep.
So for all of the info that we just went over, make sure you'll check out the patch notes because it was a lot of stuff. We talked about a lot of things, but it's all laid out in the patch notes for y'all. All the skins and all the balance and everything we talked about. So I'm super excited for all of it, and I hope to see y'all not only in the PTS but flooding the game to try and permalock Maui before I do on Tuesday. So
Good luck.
cool stuff. Well, thank y'all so much. Look out for our messaging about PTS later this week, and we will talk to y'all later. Bye, Smite fans.
Peach it.